welcome back to the Open Mic Comedy Podcast. This is part 2 of the group podcast that was recently released. If you haven't listened to part 1, please go back, listen to part 1 because it's just a continuation. And I'll let us carry on yabbiting on. So enjoy. Thank you very much for listening. I appreciate all the support. As they say in TV, back to the studio. And Chris has also piped up with another little ditty for us to consider. So here we go.
Like Chris, a Ouija board.
Something like that. It's from above. Here we go.
That was just a joke, Mark. I was just doing my Kanye West impression because I thought it would be funny. And going by your rapturous laughter that I'm assuming just happened afterwards, that was a success.
It was.
But my funny question is, I thought it'd be good to bring in the old classic game, Snog, Marry, Kill. You know, the old schoolboy classic or schoolgirl, or school day. I should have just stopped at kill. But I thought it would be good to do a comedy version of, with you guys in the room, of open, middle, and close, or headline rather. And we can throw in MC if we want. So with you 4 guys in the room, or 3, or whoever, if you want to count Mark, I don't know if he wants to count himself. Who in the room would you get to open your show, middle your show, and then absolutely close it off? Don't let this be a bump to your ego, guys.
There you go.
In this room?
In this room, all 4 of us. One's an MC, one's an opener, one's a middle, and one's a closer. So that kind of leads on to, especially for people that aren't established, that are in these kind of scenarios, that are still on nights where there's 10 plus acts. What do you think? I'll say what properties. It's not what properties. That's too technical. What attributes? That's even worse. From each person makes a good opener, closer, and middle, and MC.
Good
Everybody's
question.
really deep in thought now, Chris. You've got them.
Does this have to be us?
Yes, us.
Okay, us four.
Well, opening's hard, right? Opening's the hardest. And you want someone that's got good jokes, good writing, but is also still good with crowd work, just in case they need to do some to still warm up the crowd. And someone that's likable as well. So
Kim has her fingers up, by the way.
And then I guess middle is like, that's kind of like the entry position, isn't it?
Biology podcast. That's how we do it.
But then closer's easiest, right?
I don't
Closing.
know. I don't know.
I mean, I've not really done it, so
I've never closed. I don't think I've ever closed the show.
I've heard on the grapevine that closing is the easiest because everyone the crowds will. I mean, closing is easiest if it's like a pro show where there's been 3 acts. But if it's like obviously like a night where you've had 20, 30 acts and then you're closing, it can be the most difficult spot on the lineup. So
it's now 2 a.m. and
yeah.
I mean, sure, gigs have closed down after I've been on it, but I don't know if that's what Chris meant.
So, who Hasan, out of who in this room, who would be your MC, your opener, closer, and middler? And there's no. I mean, they're all good spots. They're all people on the bill. They're all there to entertain. So.
By default, all of you are on my gig.
Don't cop out. We're going to severely judge you on this.
I think I would probably get. It's probably one of you. By you two, I'm looking at Mark and Kim to MC. But Mark, I know you've MC'd before, but Kim, you have you're I think the most likable of us 4. So, you're very convivial and friendly and nice and like feel relaxed. As soon as I walked into the room, you made me feel so relaxed and glad to be here. So I can imagine the audience feeling similarly. So, Kim, you be emceeing mine.
Thank you.
I think, like, Mark as the main man, you have to close. It's going to be Cox and Friends. I'm
not sure that's a good time.
Another biology show. Sorry, Mark.
We've got a Cox, we've got a hooker.
We're doing well.
And then Jim, I think Jim, we'll probably have to get. I'd have to get you to open to be like, oh, it's Jim from the Pitch It Good podcast. That's like that's the kind of you get people in with that brand appeal, and then I'd humbly middle my own gig. I think.
Very good. Very good. So I'm also going to be really, really such a nice guy and be humble and middle my own gig. So I'm going to say, I'll middle my gig. To open, Kim, I think that openers need energy, energy, and you are pure energy. if they're going to find you at the Hadron Collider, and then they will solve all the problems. So I think you need energy. You need everyone to be woken up and ready and excited for the rest of the show. Mark, I think you'd MC my gig. I think you've got a very good rapport with the audience. You're there, and you're almost, because as well you're a fan of comedy. You can see that you're a fan of the other comedians as well. So you're enjoying the show as much as them, and you're like that host at a party that's trying to welcome everyone in, and you're part of the party.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's really good. And Hasan, the closer, I've seen you close a show before, and you've just had control of the audience. It's now we're going to sit down with the popcorn, and we're ready for the main event, because you're just an absolute joy to watch. So there's mine.
And to be fair, I should have said at mine, I'd have had Chris on the door as well.
Chris can serve nachos to the audience.
Yeah, he does the bucket collection at the end. Okay, so I would put myself in the middle because it's a nice safe spot. I would actually have Mark MC because I think he's genial, he's funny, but he's very good with admin. Very good at keeping things to time. You've just got that organizational skill as well. And I know because we spoke after you did your MC gig and you really did enjoy it. So I think that would be good. I would put Mr. Energy himself, I would put Jim to open just so everybody can sit back, relax, and know they're going to have a great time and hear some hilarious stories and just be with one of the sweetest, friendliest, nicest people, but who's hilariously funny.
That's lovely. Thank you.
And then to close, with Mr. Hasan, of course, the smooth operator, our secret weapon. Just in he goes, takes them by storm, and then just everyone's laughing and loving it. And hecklers, they'll be drunk by then, and you're great with hecklers, even if you are a bit racist according to some of them. But yeah, you've got the chops to kind of deal with any stray drunks who've come in. And it'd be a great night. People will be giving it 5 stars on what's the app? TripAdvisor? Really? TripAdvisor.
Right, yeah.
Nice.
The yellow pages.
Oh, yes. Thank you for talking my language, young man. Thank you.
Was that teletext?
Teletext. Wow.
I know.
Yeah.
I think I'd go for me as the MC more as a cop-out than anything else. Because I think this kind of brings back to a little story, is that me and Hasan both played a gig where, shall we say, the MC wasn't as strong as it could have been. And I feel that if I MC and things aren't going well, I wouldn't do what that person did. I wouldn't carry on. I would just kind of cut my time short and introduce the acts and bring them on and get people going. Because when we did this gig, you could see the despair on the audience faces, and we were from behind. Oh. You could feel it in the room, which you kind of think, it's going to bring the gig down, but it reversed it because the audience member, as soon as they saw a comedian get on the stage, that wasn't the MC, there was this relief, and this whole, wow, entertain us.
So in a way, he was a great MC.
Yeah,
you wanted to follow him.
Everyone had to follow him. But I would do the MC because I think it can be. I'm not saying it's always a cop out, but if things aren't going well, you bring an act on and let the act do their thing. And I think I would go with Kim to open, to bring energy straight up after me dulling everything down. Then I would do a very good job of bringing the crowd down a little bit, to then bring on Jim to then smash their faces in again. And then obviously Hasan to close it off in a ubiquitous style and leave everybody with a great night.
Oh, what a time.
Yeah.
I think that would be that'd be an entertaining
Well,
evening.
Haven't we all been very nice to each other?
Absolutely.
Haven't we?
That's why we're in a room together.
Yeah, I
Yes,
like
we
it.
are nice
Yeah.
to each other.
It is a skill though with an MC to actually get them to get the information to them, get them to laugh,
Yep.
but not overwork them. Remembering
Yeah.
because when I've MC'd in my early days when I was MCing, people would say, "Remember, it's not the Kim Hope show,"
Mm.
and it's not. You're there to serve the night. So one of my dear friends is a really excellent MC, a guy called Wes Dalton. And he just says, my goal is how can I make this night the best night? Because he runs his own gigs.
Yep.
Funny Feckers.
Yep.
2 Funny Feckers. Actually, I was looking at the listings for Edinburgh while we're on the subject. We're not. Hi, back to me. And I saw all the listings in the Laughing Horse online guide. And I really want Kimberly to change our show to 007. Is that
yeah.
not normal? Because all the ones with
Yeah.
numbers are right at the top.
Yeah, that's it.
We really missed a trick.
Yeah.
You know, on
Love it.
iTunes, one of the best-selling tracks is AAAA01, and it's just a minute of silence. So when people put their iPods on in their car, it plays. It doesn't like blare music out.
Mm.
Yeah, it's crazy, isn't it?
Nice.
Little intro. Every day's a school day.
Yes,
Yeah.
indeed.
Yeah.
So have you done a lot of MCing then, Kim? would you
I've
say?
done some,
Yeah.
previously, yeah.
I really, I don't know, because I've found it quite tricky trusting myself to really just, because like for you, do you think MCing should be, what proportion of it do you think should be crowd work? What proportion do you think it should be, or should it be all crowd work? Like, is that what do you
It's
think?
very. I think it's very dependent on the night.
100%.
I think it's because you know what it's like. Each audience you face,
Yeah.
some of them want to be right up the front because they want to be spoken to.
Yeah.
Or then there's the backfilling rooms that you can get to. Like it's packed and they're all standing around the back, but the front 2 rows
Yeah.
are not empty. So it's very, it's you have to really judge it, I think, with stand up. And often if I'm going somewhere where emceeing, and often if I'm going somewhere I've never been before, I'll do some research on the actual place. So I won't interact with the people so much, lest they don't want to be interacted with, but I'll know a bit about their town and I'll be able to ask them questions like that. So I can give them things that are easy, that they can have easy answers to. But because for me, it would just be like 15 minutes at the top, which would be a few jokes, bit of chat, the admin, another joke to bring it into the, talk about how the night is going to go, when the breaks are, where the exits are, what we expect from you, switch your phones off, all that kind of admin-y stuff, trying to make it as amusing as possible. But yeah, I think you can tell from an audience if they want to be spoken to or not. And if they're rowdy and they do kind of arc up, you have to bring that down as well.
Yeah.
And say, it's okay to chat to me like that, but these guys, you chat while they're on and I'll be out giving you a lap dance and nobody wants that. I just do anything to make them, intimidate them. Yes.
I did an MC course at the same time as my
good.
stand-up course with Logan Murray.
Taking notes.
Yeah, so I did the Logan Murray stand-up course, which was like the best fun I've ever had. Like it was really good. And he was running an MC course at the time, and I did that as well. And he's got some like really fun techniques. So he does that whole high status, low status thing. There's a lot of that. But then the showcase at the end is he gets a load of his like comedian friends to come in and just be the worst audience ever, and you've got to handle them for 20 minutes.
Okay.
People are throwing things, people are walking up on the stage, and you're in charge and you've got to deal with it.
Wow.
And it's so much fun. Like it was probably the most stressful 20 minutes of my life.
Yeah.
But apart from I did a show with Hoopla about 2 months ago. It was called Stand Up and Die, and it was a improv stand-up night where we play improv games with the audience. They'd give suggestions and someone would have to rant for 2 minutes on a subject, and all those types of things. And I twisted my ankle as I walked off the stage. So as I rolled my ankle, and it was, the thing that really hurt about it apart from the ankle, was that I wasn't in the audience to see it. Because it would have been the best thing. I remember sort of like hit the floor like a sack of shit. And I was like, I wish I'd seen that. I really do. Because that would have just been a beautiful thing to see.
You've done,
Yeah.
that's the second injury you've done coming off a stage, isn't it?
Yeah, I've walked into a couple of speakers as well.
I remember that. I remember G&B down at Charing Cross. I wasn't there. I'm sure it was you, wasn't it? You came off the wrong side. And you hit your head against the speaker that's up into the left-hand corner, and now there's a little bit of yellow and black tape around it.
So I've done 2 speakers G&B,
Wow.
one at the George and one at the Albany when it was there. I hit my head so hard at the Albany, but I don't remember about 30 seconds afterwards. Yeah,
No speaker is safe around this one.
yeah. So I'm cursed as an MC. But
No, I find the MC part is you have to judge it on the night. Interestingly, when I did mine, I mentioned this to a comic the other day. They asked how I enjoyed the MCing when I did it. I said it was really good. I really enjoyed it. I love being in the moment and doing like just little bits and nothing too extreme. But the one thing I didn't do at all really was crowd work. And they said, but isn't that the whole point of the MC? And it was like, well, there is a lot of that. But the night that I did, the first act I introduced was a 17-year-old girl doing her second ever gig, or her first gig after a showcase. And she actually hoofed it out of the park.
Oh, wow.
And it felt like, if that's the quality of the night that we've got ahead of us, I'm just here bringing people on and making a little ditty about what's been on and what's coming on. And that was it. And that's all I needed to really do, and didn't have to get involved and start trying to ask people what they do for a living and stuff, and get too involved and make the night about me. And somebody actually sent a message to the guy that runs the night after and said, your MC for last night, I really enjoyed him because he was very calming. Some of the ones we've seen before have been very hyperactive.
Yeah.
So, but it was very calming, allowed people to breathe, got people on, got people off, and it was just got people off. But
Oh, here we go again.
a biology
Hello,
podcast. But you know, it made the night flow.
I bet it did.
You look so. There's a slight regret.
You look so exasperated when I said the first phrase that you thought, I've got to say this second phrase.
There's a quick other corner of my eye. It looked very sultry.
Oh.
It was very, very, very smooth.
Yeah.
But I always think it's night dependent. I do intend that when I do MCing again to try to do a bit of crowd work as such, depending on the room. If the room allows for it, then do it. Because I think sometimes I've seen a few other people do it where they interact with the audience, and it helps the comics as well.
Yeah.
Because the comics then start seeing what the crowd's like.
Yeah.
And they can utilize them when they're doing their sets and stuff. So, and they're not going in completely cold, and you kind of work out who the people are that you can interact with. Because I guess the kind of rule that I've seen, this is amateur level for me, so I might be completely wrong, is you don't want the person that's really enthusiastic. Because they're going to be too much in the show. They're going to think this all about them.
Yeah.
That's the thing. Yeah, you've got to be careful not to set a precedent really early on.
But you don't want to bring that person in that looks really uncomfortable either. So it's finding that balance of the person that wants to chime in a little bit and have a bit of fun with yourself, but you know they're not going to affect an act.
Find the happy introvert.
Yeah.
Yeah. They'd just be like, yeah, are you having a good time? Are you? Do you really enjoying it? Yeah. You know, it's that, sort of.
But I can't wait for the time that I ask somebody their job and they give me a job title that's completely nondescript.
Yeah.
And you try and have to work with that. And I'm intrigued how I will cope with stuff like that, because I think as my journey's come along, I've got more and more comfortable being open and off script on stage.
Yeah.
But how that will materialize in a environment like being an MC, I have no idea yet.
Well, our friend Andrew, I think I might have even told you this, but our friend Andrew gave me some great advice about how, because I always used to get so nervous whenever something off script happened during a set and the audience member said anything. And he said to me, remember that it's not your jokes that are funny. Your jokes are funny because you are funny. So just because something goes off script, you should still feel like, well, whatever I say is funny because I am a funny person, and it just changes the attitude and even like the way you carry yourself on stage. Because I also think that with some gigs, there's a feeling of like, it's really good what you said about because you're not the star of the show. And I think that's the toughest thing about emceeing is this feeling of responsibility you hold for the whole night.
Yeah.
You don't want to make anyone's job harder. I don't want comedians to be like saying to themselves or saying to each other like, "Oh God, he didn't warm the crowd up properly," or like,
We've been there.
Yeah. But the other thing is like sometimes I feel like, and not even necessarily as an MC, sometimes as a comic as well, is that until you acknowledge with certain crowds, until you acknowledge you are in the room with them and that you're not just saying the same thing that you say to every single crowd, they'll never fully get on board with you.
Yeah.
I've had that at gigs where I'm like, oh, you didn't like that joke? Okay, that's fine, I've got a better one. Or you didn't like that one, I've got a better one. And they're just never really getting into it. But then like you acknowledge like how awkward the room is, or how anything that's just like, oh, you can only say this. This is just for us. We're the only crowd that will ever enjoy this joke, and they just suddenly open up and the tension goes.
I remember doing something with somebody at G&B where it was made known that there was a French girl at the back of the room. I don't know, she contributed to something early on. And at that point in my set, I used to have a bit where I would try to utilize the French spelling of my name to a scenario where I'm in France or Paris trying to speak to a hotelier to say I've got a room booked and I'm speaking in French. But before I started that bit, or as I was about to speak in French, I shouted out across the room to her. I remember what her name was, and said, "Veronique, if whatever you're about to hear now, I'm really sorry for butchering your language." And then I did my bit.
Yeah.
And then I kind of like looked over and went, "How was that?" And she went, "That's not bad actually." And it kind of brought everybody in the room.
Exactly.
And it's that little bit, and I try to do it now where I do a scenario where I do a bloke thinking of three stupid things and how they interact with each other. And the last one now, I don't know if anybody remembers, I used to do a thing about do dogs lick humans because we're full of bones? And that's always like a slow burn, and that works. Then I do a 72-hour deodorant. Who wakes up on a Monday, reaches for Links Africa and says, "Well, that's me done till Thursday."
Yeah.
And then it's always the third one that's always given me issues, because I think I've spoken to you about this one before, Kim, is that originally it was everybody really kung fu fighting? And it works in some rooms, in some rooms it doesn't. Because it just depends on the age of the room. So then I start throwing another one in, but now I've thrown one in which involves me asking the crowd a question, which is, does anybody remember the film Cars? And most of the time you'll get a reaction, because whether you're an adult or a young adult or an older adult, you've got grandkids or kids that have watched the film if you've not seen it yourself. And I always get a response of, yeah. And so, in that film, there are no human beings. So why do the cars have doors? And because I brought them on board with that bit, they're enjoying that bit. Because I did chuck another one in. And it went as dead as a dodo. I said, what even is a Casbah? As in rock the Casbah.
Right.
And it was so subtle that the whole room was just like,
Don't know what you're talking about.
no clue. No clue.
Yeah.
And I was like, that one's never being repeated on a stage ever again. It was too subtle.
No, I've had I've had the Cars movie bit as well that I've tried, where I talk about I have a red sports car that kind of looks like Lightning McQueen.
Yeah.
And that I had this idea, this again general, I was like, I could put decals on it, make it look like Lightning McQueen, and that would really impress my niece, because she'd be like, oh, but then I'm a 35-year-old man driving around in a Disney car. It's just like it's not friendly, but it was just too many words in it. Didn't get to it wasn't punchy, didn't get to the point, so parked it, taking it back.
Parked it.
Yeah.
Very nice. There's no off switch on this guy. My goodness me.
Everybody is turned on.
So I actually have a new bit that puts quite a lot of. It's a bit of a gamble, really. I've tried it a couple of times. I talk a little bit more about how I grew up in Essex, and how it's a bit of a weird place to grow up, and I talk about. They teach you a lot of useless shit in school in Essex. I've never in an emergency needed to know what a stalactite and a stalagmite was. and then just talk to the audience. And the audience go, you know what's done. What? How did they teach you? How did they? And then everyone has a weird way they remember it, and it's a big gamble because it could be from a different country. So you have to really read the audience, and someone's like nodding, yes, and you're like, I've got you. And it's like it's always like, and then the end of the jokes is we were taught in Essex, tights go down. Which is absolutely true.
Wow. That's how I remember it.
Yeah, tights go down. Yeah, so it's but Essex.
Wow.
Yeah. So
Okay.
yeah.
I feel sad.
But again, that's a gap. Like you have to tell the joke, watch the audience to figure out. I need to figure out who's got it to then continue this.
Yeah.
And there's a bit of a gamble. But that as well, I think that if I was more experienced, I probably wouldn't do something like that. Because it's too much. It's not, you talk about Hasan about comedy being a business. Because at the end of the day, when you get to the clubs and you're a professional, you're not there to for your artisticness. You're there to sell tickets, to sell drinks, to keep people interested, keep them coming back to the comedy club. And it has to be. You have to be reliable. You've got to be a sure thing. You've got to be a product. All very capitalistic.
Well, it reminds me, some comedian Latif Lovejoy said to me about how on stage clubbing in America, maybe at the Comedy Store, and he said how there's no joke that is funny enough that they will be happy for you to go over your 10 minutes, because for every minute break they make, I don't know, £1,000 on the bar. So you have to humble yourself and be like, he's like, I always finish 9 minutes 30. I made sure I never ever go over the time. But also what you said about the feeling of getting the whole crowd together and engaged, because one of the best MCs I've seen is a guy called Alex Farrow. Have you seen Alex?
No.
Really, really good. He's based in Oxford. He's a great show in Oxford called Jericho Comedy. And he's such a great MC. And something I saw him do, which I asked him about, was after he got off stage, he would draw a little layout of the audience. And then he'd annotate it to be for example, James sat back right corner, accountant, or some interesting fact about them. So that every time you go back on stage, you can refer to them by name or make callbacks, and because there's nothing worse than when you go on stage and say, sorry, what was your name again? It really makes it feel like you guys are just dead to me. This is but when you say, oh, James, you'd be able to help with that with your accounts, it's wow, he remembers, we're all in this together. They're invested in the success of the night. It's just it's really, really good for the, and that for me is the pure essence of the MC's job.
The MC is the host of the party. It's introducing everyone to each other and introducing the acts and being that, you should speak to this guy. It's that host of the party.
Exactly. Yeah, that's why you see so many MCs be who's single, and they'll be oh, well, let's try and find someone for you, etc.
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
Just about when we're talking about it being a business. So I am now brutally aware that social media and having a presence on social media and posting regularly on social media is something that we have to do in order to, lift the brand, whatever. Gosh, I hate saying these words. But I find, and I really got into it in Brighton, but now I find I cannot get off my Instagram. So do you guys have any strategies for going in, making the best of a small amount of time on Instagram, sharing it to your other platforms, and then getting out again? Because I am just lost. I can lose hours on my phone now.
Yeah. I've heard of this app, Opal, is it? That blocks your...
That popped up on my Instagram feed yesterday.
I know a lot of people use that, but I've
Okay.
never, and I should probably get something like that because I suffer from the same problem. I'm really intimidated by the thought of having to post 2-3 times a week in order to, as you say, increase engagement and these sorts of things. I know there's the comedian. No, what's it called? Is that it? Comedians podcast with
Stuart Goldsmith, yeah.
And he did an interview with Josh Pugh, who does these really good clips online. And I think Josh posts every Monday, and he coordinates it with rush hour, the commute, and he'll always post then. And he's really, really good. And he talks about this, about constructing a premise, coming up with a premise for that Monday. And he has his coffee shop owner character. So it's really, really funny. And yeah, it's just, you just see the premise. Like he has a premise as a caption on the video, and the premise in itself is so intriguing that you want to hit play and listen to what he's saying. But I think he said how he just one day decided I'm going to post every week for a year and then just see how it goes, and it went really, really well. So I think that's a good. It's something I want to do at some point is to do something like that, a goal like that, and kind of hold yourself accountable, I suppose.
Yeah, I think I mean, it's obviously why they do it, but I think stories are horrible for people that don't want to use Instagram so much because there's always that. It's the fear of missing out thing. Is that the story is only there for 24 hours?
Yeah.
And how many times do you go through and you're going through a few stories and you see that you press the screen and you're on to the next one. It's like, no, I hadn't finished looking at that one, and then you go out and come back in and it's completely disappeared again, and you have to track down that person to go and find it and try to keep you on the platform. So I tend, for my own comedy ones, I don't post that much unless I think I get something fun that comes out. Ironically, my best performing reel as a personal comic is me coming onto the stage and not saying a word. It's just coming on with a t-shirt.
Yeah.
And then the laughter is there, and I haven't said a word.
Yeah.
And that it kind of starts making me think, how much effort do I need to put into it?
Yeah.
But
Well, also because people don't need to hit play and hear the sound.
No.
So they can enjoy that, but it will keep their attention even though they're not.
You just have to do for growing. You have to put subtitles and everything because they say 90% of people don't consume Instagram with the volume up. So unless you want to get your message out there, it has to be there on subtitles.
Yeah,
for people
exactly.
to
God,
consume.
Mr. Bean would kill if he was around now. He would be doing numbers.
But it's hard to. I find it. If you're not producing much content, it's easy to stay off. But when you are producing content, like if I'm doing stuff for the podcast, there is a set routine I have every single week. So every Tuesday an episode comes out. Every Thursday a clip from that episode comes out.
Yeah.
And it's all done in such a way that if somebody sees the post go up on the Tuesday about the episode and goes, I'll look at that later. Thursday here's a little gentle reminder that it still exists if you want to go and check it out. That's why that's there for. And then at the weekend, I'll usually chuck out a quote from every episode. But it's about 4 or 5 weeks behind. To not push people, but just to say, hey, you may have consumed the last 3 episodes, but there's others here that are really quite good and picking out stuff.
So clever.
The one I put out, I don't know if I put out, I think I put it out yesterday, was from Chris Ford.
Yes.
He talks about, he goes out and he wings King Gong. Or he beats King Gong, and he comes back to his house all excited, and he gets indoors, and he goes to tell his other half about it. His other half makes some comment about, who do you think you are, Lady Gaga? It's 12 o'clock at night, I need to get up for work.
Humbling.
And it's those little ditties that I can pull out that I try not to put too much out, but I'm also wary that once you scroll past something on Instagram, it's never going to come back on your feed again.
Yeah.
Once it thinks you've seen it, it's gone.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, I tell you what I found really nice about that is that you put that quote up, and then people were saying, and you said nice things under it as well, and it kind of made me feel like you really cared about it, which is good. I mean, and for Pitch It Good, we have got templates that we use, to keep firstly consistency. We want to make sure that there's the brand is right, so we keep it the same because not as if anyone cares, but it means more to us. And when we choose the videos and we put the clips up, we want people to feel like that we've picked the clips that doesn't make us as hosts look good. It's just them, right? We want them to want to repost it and for their friends to go, I was on this podcast and it was really fun, right? Because ultimately that's how our listener base increases, and we get much bigger engagement with the videos as opposed to the whole episodes by a factor of 50. So that's where ultimately podcasts now, comedy podcasts are farms for clips, right? That's what it is. But but there are people that listen to all the episodes, and so there's that, right? So we do that, and we do little things like when we choose a song that goes for the story when we introduce that, and we really put a lot of thought into that to make sure that it could be something that we privately discussed afterwards, just like, oh, that this song was really good, and we used that.
Yep.
So we put a lot of thought into it. For my own personal, so I have a personal account on Instagram which is private.
Yep.
And then there's my comedy Instagram account. The comedy Instagram account, if I think about what I'm actually trying to achieve with it, I'm under no illusion that that people are going to be like hunting me down on Instagram to come and see my shows. This is what do I want? I want gigs and I want stage time.
Yeah.
So I make sure that if I've been invited to a night, that I promote it on there. And then I'll always post a picture and say this is a good night. Tag other comedians that I was with as well to say like these were brilliant, and it's lovely, right? Because that's for me what the open mic circuit is. It's just completely bonkers and it's just so much fun. I'm not under the impression that the Comedy Store are looking at my at my Instagram going, well, get this guy in. Do you know what I mean? That's not that's not what's happening. So for me, it's that and this is a bit of a bugbear for me. I see comedians putting a lot of their personal lives on their comedy Instagrams, and it's almost irrelevant. I know that sounds awful and it sounds mean, but I feel like if you're a celebrity, that's fine, but we're not. We're kind of, we're all just in this open mic circuit, all just trying to do our absolute best. So I keep a separation of like anything personal is on a personal Instagram account to do that. Oh God, I sound like a real addict who got 3 Instagram accounts. There's actually a 4th one, but it's only of pictures of my dog having a shit.
Niche.
That's the one that does the numbers.
That's the one that does the numbers, yeah.
When
Number
the
2,
clips come out.
mostly.
Hey!
Yeah.
I keep everything separate. I've got a personal Instagram account, but I to be honest, since
Now you guys tell me. See?
since the comedy one's been created, I never really used Instagram for anything anyway. I've never been one to really. I don't know why I needed it or why I wanted it. I just thought I'd create it for the sake of creating it. And then I thought, when it comes to doing this and starting comedy, I was like, how can I need to get the separation. So I did this. I created a separate account, and then from there, it's almost like a scrapbook of memories for me more than anything else. That I've put like the first ever book that I started writing a joke in from the first course that I was going to do, and the email confirmation of the course. So, and even under the first win, it says, nobody may see this, depends on how the next six or 7 weeks goes. And slowly it's like starting putting stuff on there in little bits, but it's never a lot. I don't have a regular posting schedule. I can't do it. I don't have enough good clips, I think would do it justice. But I do try to promote every month what gigs I've got coming up.
Yeah.
Because I think if it shows, like you say, you want stage time, and if it shows to the promoter that you're willing to promote their night by tagging them in the bits you do, they're more likely to go, this guy is going to help us reach out a bit further.
Well, for me, it's just gratitude. I'm so grateful that someone has gone to all of this time and effort to set up a night and to find a pub that it's in, a basement or whatever. And they're letting me come, without a bringer in a lot of cases. I'm so grateful for it that that's the least I can do is just say thanks.
Yeah.
Right? And it's just, because that's what it is. I think I'm like overly grateful for it because I have no business doing that. Do you know what I mean? I know, I'm just being like that, but still just being grateful for it.
Well, yeah, it's surprising how few comedians actually share like the promotional material that the gig has created, put out. But also what you're saying about, it's so good what you do with the podcast because you have the video, you have the audio, obviously, of the podcast, and then you have the picture of the quote, so people can read, they can listen, and they can watch. But also, I think it's that rule in marketing of like people need to see something 3 times before it sticks in their mind.
Yeah.
Of like, and also that thing of when they read the quote and then they see the video, they like remember like, oh yeah, there's the open mic podcast, and it's very, very effective. I think. Do you find that the posting regularly helps with engagement as well? That the more regularly you post, the more you see?
It's odd. There is no. I put posts up, and I think that's going to do really well for me, for
Yeah.
example. But then there are times where they just don't, and it's you can't put your finger on exactly what's going on. But for some reason, it's just not hitting the spot. Whether it's not being shown out to people. For example, like I think the most number of likes I've had on a post is like it's about 40, and then you see other people that are getting like hundreds. But what I find helps is that, especially with the podcast thing, is that the video clip and the quote, they're all. I always invite the other person as a collaborator.
Yeah.
So
That's
that
a
it
good
appears on
idea.
their wall as well, not just in their tag pit. So it gets a lot more engagement, and people that come on to the podcast they're quite flattering about some of the stuff they say, and it's my way of kind of helping them with something else, some more material.
Yeah.
So it's like when I do the ones that are promoting various nights. The idea behind it is that they do the podcast which has the night on it, and then I do a quick clip which basically goes through a quick summary of when does it happen, where does it happen, the rules for comedians and stuff, and how do you apply. And then the idea is that those people then have it in their main wall, and they can share it every month when they're looking for more people. And they've got a bit of automatic engagement video to just share, done. That's the idea behind it. But
I mean, and one of the things I love about this podcast is that I love that it's my friends, right? And it's really, and it is, you know, that I imagine that this is for the open mic community, right? This is for people who are doing the mics, running the mics, like as you say at the beginning of your episodes. But it's so lovely to hear your mates talking about it, because you see them like, and sometimes you just might be like oh hi, how you doing? See this, that, and then obviously you don't want to talk during the night. So it's really nice to learn a little bit more about the people that you see all the time, and it's really good. I really like that.
It's quite funny actually. I've had a friend of mine who has nothing to do with comedy. I've known for 20, 30 years or something. And he messaged me the other day. So I've just listened to a couple of your episodes, just was a bit bored and put it on in the background. I had to listen. He said, it's really weird hearing your voice and not being able to talk back to you. It's just like, and he's just like, which episode should I listen to next? And he's just like, I'll try this one. And then because he's a bit of a sound engineer, I'll say to him like, you've gone for the later ones. Have a listen to some of the earlier ones and see if you think anything's changed in how things are produced and how things sound and stuff. And it's interesting. I have no idea if we've actually answered your question, Kim.
No, you have. Thank you very much, everyone. It's been very good. Sorry, thanks for waking me up there.
I have a question
snoring.
for Kim, actually. What's because obviously you performed a lot in Australia. Are there any really striking differences you've seen between Australian circuit and the British circuit, or performing comedy here versus there, audiences?
I haven't. Well, it's okay. It's one thing to, I think, get up on stage in front of your native, as it were, audience, and know all of the references culturally because that's where you grew up. And then again, to go to other places and do research and go to Adelaide and find out which town they hate, and then get on stage and talk about, glad I'm here and not in Elizabeth. Whoa, crowds go wild kind of vibe. So there's that. There's just those kind of cellular level references that people get, jingles, TV campaigns, all of that kind of thing. And then to come over here, I remember actually coming over here, watching a gig. I was doing a middle spot or something, and Gordon Southern, a comedian called Gordon Southern, was emceeing, and he's English, but the vast knowledge he had about everything that goes on in the UK, and the way he was bantering off people in the audience. And I went, I will never, ever, ever understand this place. What am I doing here? But because I've been here for so long now, yes, I do. I know a lot more. I've really invested in the politics, the culture here as well, and kind of learned a lot. So it's that. It's like, wow, it kind of looks a bit like Australia. We speak a bit the same. We've got some of the same, but it's completely different. I think the open mic circuit is much healthier over here, but there is a larger concentration of people. There's more comics, but there's also more open mic nights. And the distance you need to travel to be a working comedian is smaller because there's a lot of land to cover between gigs in
Mm.
Australia. I'm not really sure what the actual network of gigs is like there now because I haven't gigged there in so long. But yeah, I feel much more comfortable here. I just feel like this is. I mean, I was an adult when I came over, but I feel like I kind of grew up a lot once I moved here because I had to. There was no, you know, big smile and kind of knowing where everyone was from that I could fall back on. I had to start all over again and learn a lot of stuff. So, yeah, I don't know. I feel like it's much more of a meritocracy over here, and good
Interesting.
work will see you through.
Do you find that you have to, because like you're like visibly and noticeably, not visibly, but like audibly Australian.
Which I forgot.
Is that something you have to address when as soon as you get on stage in this, or are people like kind of fine
Here's
with it?
See, I thought when I started back doing stand up, in April last year, I completely ignored the whole Australian thing because I've lived here for so long. Like
Yeah.
I moved here in, I can't even remember when it was, 2007. I moved here permanently. So I just feel, I mean, I'm tutting at people who are on the wrong side of the escalator. You know, I feel like if people are fumbling with their Oyster card to get out of the tube, I'm like, oh, come on, guys. You know, I have kind of got London ground into my pores. So I forgot. I actually didn't address it for a while. And then we were talking about unique selling points and who your stage persona is and all this kind of stuff. And I'm like, but who am I? Who am I? And I went, oh my God, I'm Australian.
Yeah.
And I started leaning into it a bit more, and it really helped because it helps to have a bit of an outsider's perspective because there still is stuff to me that is bizarre. But that's also a charm. It's a bit of a charming thing. Like I can kind of charm my way into going, hey guys, this is weird, isn't it? I'm a bit of a dummy and don't understand. So I thought when that woman said bless to me, she was being nice. Oh, little did I know, you know.
Oh my God, I'm Australian is a great name for a sitcom. I'd watch that. I'd watch that all day.
That realization.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have a question for all three of you. What is the best piece of advice that you've been given?
Mine probably was from Paul Little when I was doing a G&B gig, and I came off, and he said to me, "You don't know you're doing this, but you keep walking backwards on the stage. You start at the front, and by the end of it, you're in the curtains. Don't do it, because it looks like you're trying to get away from the audience rather than not necessarily being in their faces, but being present and stuff in a room. It gives the impression that you don't want to be there. You may be nervous, but your nerves they're being shown on the stage."
Yeah.
And that was probably the most succinct piece of advice I think I've had for certainly on the comedy circuit about something I can address and make a difference with.
Yeah.
And I do that far, far less now. I do it occasionally sometimes, and I can feel like as I take a step backwards, I feel like the heel of my foot hits something and go, wait, that's too far back. We're going forward 2 steps. And yeah, that's me.
Very good.
I think mine I've said already about the working hard and being nice to everyone. Just really, really so important. And so I think, because comedians can be quite asocial, not particularly personable, not coming across as nice. And it's often those are the people that you want to be the nicest to because people give up on them. They just think, okay, fine, I'm not going to engage with this person anymore. But people have their reasons for being quiet or reserved or whatever. Yeah, just really, and it's just scary. Like the number of times I've like met someone in like a gig, horrible gig, and then they've managed to get me something, or I've like seen them a year and a half later and been like, oh my God. And it's like, yeah, it's like people really. I hate when you do a gig. It's like first time. I remember the first time I did Top Secret, like way back in 2022, and I was so nervous, and I went up to like the MC in it, and I was like, "Hi, my name's Hasan." And they were just like, "Why are you talking to me?" and I was like, "Oh, are you okay pronouncing my name?" And they're like, "Yeah, of course." And I got on stage, and I don't think it was it was that great a night. Maybe I can't remember, but like I did well, and afterwards, the MC was like, "Oh, well done, man. I see you around." I was just like, "Why do that?" Could have been any number of reasons, but I don't know. But it's just this feeling of, oh, nothing's worse than the feeling of they're only being nice to me because now they think that they can. Oh, it's worth being nice to me. You want to be nice to them before you've even seen them on stage.
Mhm.
Yep.
Make it really, really clear that like I'm being nice to you because it's the good thing to do.
Great advice.
Yeah, no, I like that advice. I like the advice I've heard so far. So I guess because actually be nice to people is a great one, because what is the point of
Yeah.
ruining anyone else's day because you're having a bad day? But one of the things, because I struggle with self-confidence and can get quite anxious, is I can't even remember who told me. My friend Marilyn, I think, she said, from the minute your foot hits that stage, you have every right to be there. As soon as you're there, it's a given that you're going to be funny, and they're going to just take it. And I was like, oh yeah, that actually works. Like, the audience is sitting there watching me, and if I walk on that stage and grab that mic, they go, there you go. So it's that. Even doesn't matter how nervous I am or worried or trying to work out I still haven't got that new link into that joke, and is that even going to be fun? Just like, let it go, hands on hips, do
Yeah.
a bit of a power pose, some box breathing, walk onto the stage, and then as soon as my foot hits the stage, it's showtime.
Yeah.
Very
Yeah.
good.
What about yourself?
What
then?
about you?
There's probably two bits that come to mind. One's from Stefania Licari, who's a comedy actress. She's very funny, and she's a trained actress. And I asked her for a bit of advice. And I was going for, say you think you're funny. I was like, I just need every single little bit of help. And she said, would you like feedback as a friend or actual feedback? I was like, actual feedback. And she told me on the stage to move with purpose. Instead of pacing around, because I didn't know that I was moving around. Every move has to be purposeful.
Mhm.
Yeah.
That was a really good bit of advice and changed my act overnight. And from Logan Murray, all creativity comes from play. And whenever I think something isn't working, I just reset. Go, am I playing? Am I just having fun writing this? And if I'm not, that's why I don't really like writing gyms. People love writing gyms, and I've got nothing against them, but I feel like it's a bit pressured. I'm not playing. I'm not having fun. Everything I write in a writing gym just comes out rubbish.
Mm.
So play. Yeah, all creativity comes from play. Mess around and have fun, and that fun will transfer itself through the universe somehow into like the internet, but for fun.
Yeah, I think honesty is. I've said it before. If I ever ask anybody for some advice, please don't flower it up, because it's not going to do me any favour. I'm asking advice for a reason. If you come out and say that joke was absolutely shit and inappropriate, fine. I should spot that, but that's kind of the point. And Chris, who we've heard from above, I said to him that I thought one of my sets was okay, but there was a few bits that needed a bit of work, and I sent it to him, and his reply was, honesty or not? Like, give me honesty. And he went through and he said, I think there's bits that I want to know about what you're talking that you're not explaining. I want to know why your dad did this. I need a description of your dad and stuff like this, but make it funny with a joke in there somehow. And being able to take that advice, nobody should ever consider kid themselves that they're the greatest on this planet. I think in this whole industry, what I've learned is that when you do some of these open mic nights, if you do like competitions and stuff, I never have ill feelings to anybody else that's competing against me. I always want that person to do well. If I go to a competition or whatever, I now go with the mindset is I'm just going to give the best 5 minutes I can give. If somebody's better than me, it's fine. And just accept it. But be friendly along with it.
Yeah.
I bring chewing gum to competitions. If I've got a dry mouth, other people might. So I'm like,
Nice
"Do you want
one.
some gum?" Yeah, because
kids,
if
do you want
you're
some gum?
if you're as nervous as I am, then you might need it.
That's really nice, though. The thing about the play too
Mm.
is that because it's a live format that we're working in, we're working with people and with people's energy. So the being nice, supportive, generous, and and playing like this is our energy is like electricity. It transfers, so it's a great thing to bear in mind. I
Mhm.
think.
Definitely.
It's like when I try and sit and write. If I try and sit and write, I go, right, I'm going to sit and write. And I imagine, but then I'm like, no, it's not. And then I kind of imagine myself like sitting there like a, Elizabethan with one of those things around my, a piccadille around my neck and like a big quill. And I'm like, oh yes, look at me writing comedy. Aren't I artistic? And then that makes me laugh more than the actual thing, like the rubbish I'm
Yeah.
writing. So, yeah.
Mm.
That's got to be clipped.
Oh, no.
No, yeah, I can't sit there and write and create something. Something has to be there for me to feed off of it.
Mm.
Something has to happen. Something has to catch my eye. I can't sit down and go, I'm going to create a joke about X.
Mm.
If I see X, I'll create a joke about it. But I can't. It feels false if I try to do it. It has to come from some level of truth. I saw Matt Withers. I think you might all be familiar with him. He does. He does a bit about politics and stuff. It's all right. My camera's getting hot. It's powered off now.
Again.
Yeah.
Oh.
Hello. But he does a really good bit about Skechers shoes because he's seen an advert on the tube, and that when did we stop using our hands to put our shoes on? And stuff like that, and it's come from that moment of truth of you seen something that you think is absurd.
I'll tell you what I've tried to do as well, and I'm going to out myself here as a massive weirdo, so buckle up. Right, here we go. I've started, if I want to do something a little bit observational, I'll listen to stuff like cha-cha music whilst like while I'm walking around, because everything becomes absurd. When you're watching people like listening to weird like sort of playful like cha-cha music, and you see someone just like reading the paper and it's in a river, it's just absolutely bizarre. As I said, completely unhinged behavior, but it's just really fun. If you think, okay, I see people on the tube every day and I don't pay attention to it, boom, put something like that on, everything just becomes a little bit weird and funny.
Yeah.
And I dare you go to the gym and listen to that sort of music and watch people do that sort of it's just crazy.
That's 80s Benny Hill.
All that sort of stuff. I feel very uncomfortable by just admitting that to the listener base of this podcast.
This is a safe space.
Out there, I'm a bit concerned.
In here, it's all nice and comfortable.
There is one thing I want you guys to all do at the moment as well, is just give details on your Edinburgh shows. Where, when, times, tickets, etc.
Kim, do you want to go first?
Yes, I will go first. Okay, so our show is Kimberly Policella and Kim Hope, and the show is called Is That Not Normal? We are at the City Cafe in the 90s Room, which is a fabulous little venue. It's part of the Laughing Horse Free Festival, and our show is at 2:25 to 2:35. We are not a double act. We have kind of we had to sort that out. That was one thing Brighton showed us. Make sure it's really clear that we're not a double act. And yeah, it's going to be lots of fun. It's a free event. We will be taking donations afterwards. So, cash, or we do have a card machine, of course. Woo woo.
Very good.
Did you say 2:25 to 2:35?
Yes, I did. Probably. It's going to be a 10-minute show. Really quick. Guys, get in. Like, really, you better be sat down because we're going to get you out in 10 minutes. Kimberly does 4.5. I do 4.5. And then we just hold the bucket.
You've got a 50-minute bucket.
Yeah, it's a very long.
You've got a 1-minute opener as well, just to warm people up.
Not so much a show as a hostage situation. Yes, sorry. 2:25 to 3:25. Nice. Thank you, Hasan.
Nice. Do you want to go next?
So Pitch It Good.
Yeah.
Pitch It Good is at the Gilded Balloon Patter House from the 24th to the 26th of August in the Bothy, which is a Scottish word for a little hut. apparently. Yeah, so we're there 6:40 in the evening on the Saturday, Sunday, Monday. And we've got an Edinburgh preview at the Museum of Comedy on Saturday, the 27th of July. And you can buy the tickets from the Gilded Balloon from the Ed Fringe website, or we've got a little link in our Instagram bio at the Pitch It Good Instagram account.
Are you doing anything to adapt the show for live?
Ask me after the
After
after the preview.
Nice.
No, the only thing Paul and I usually ask each other what films we've watched this week, and seeing as we've got a hard stop on an hour,
Yeah.
I think we're just going to skip that bit. Bring the guest in. You know,
Okay.
people don't want to hear us talking about watching Ghostbusters for the 50th time.
Okay.
So I think we're just going to cut that bit out and just see how it goes.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. Yes, so we're doing obviously Two Muslim, Two Furious Mecha Drift. And that's going to be on at 2 p.m. Every day except Monday. It's also Laughing Horse, and it's at Dragonfly, which I think is just off Grassmarket. So are you not on Mondays?
We're on Mondays,
Oh, you're
but
on
how
Mondays.
come you're on when we're on? That's not
yeah,
fair.
it's annoying. But I hope I should be able to come see yours on one of. Are you there the whole month?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
First to the 25th of August.
Yeah.
No days off.
Nice.
We're hardcore.
Nice. Nice. I'm also surprised by that because I thought all Laughing Horse shows were Mondays off.
Not that we're aware of. And we
Okay.
haven't been told. So.
Okay. Good.
Guess
Okay.
what? We're going to have a big house on a Monday. I'm thinking.
Street comedy outside.
Absolutely.
Nice.
Cool.
Yeah. And you'll have to let us know because I was going to. I mean, this is not for the podcast, but I'll tell you afterwards about a comedy
Oh.
show.
So if you
exclusive.
get paid subscriptions, you'll hear this
exactly.
later. Yeah.
Maybe one day. Maybe one day. No, thank you, all three of you, for coming in.
Thank you, Mark.
It's
Thank you,
been
Mark.
thank you.
enormous fun.
Yeah.
We have overrun by shitloads. So I'm not sure if this is going to be a one-part or two-part.
Part one and part two.
Complete. But either which way, it will be going out in one shape or form or another.
And Mark, thank you so much for doing this podcast. As I
Yes.
said, because there's a
Yes.
little community of weirdos that we are, it's lovely to see your friends doing this sort of stuff. So thank you very much.
Yeah, I'm
100%.
absolutely.
I said it first, Kim.
I'm seconding and thirding it, all of you, right?
But I have to thank you three and Chris from above because
Rest
you,
in peace, Chris.
you four were the very first 4 episodes, and you four were the very first 4 people I asked. And my rule was that if any of you said no, it wouldn't have happened.
Really?
power.
my
The power
God.
we had.
Oh, wow.
You did have the power.
I'm really sorry, everyone.
But I didn't want to let you know you had that power because I wanted to
Wow.
be genuine. Because I thought that the mix of what we have here it encompasses what the open mic circuit is. So you've got Chris who runs his own night. He's been in it for 2 years. You started not that long before me, but you nailed your first year. Talking to Jim, Kim's been in it for
I
ages,
started in the last century, kids. That's right. Older than time.
and you've done the thing where you've come over from another country and you've carried it on and been supportive to everyone and everything, and it's just been great fun.
And Hasan is a big racist.
Yeah,
And
well, no.
Big race.
Hasan's actually probably one of the first people I spoke to after a gig, like on Instagram, saying just like complimenting on the set, and for somebody to reply back and say, "Really enjoyed yours. Here's some tips if you want them. If you don't, then whatever." And it was just nice.
Hasan.
Yeah.
And the way you're progressing into a established world,
A real
is
boy,
really,
Pinocchio.
yeah, a real boy. It's really good to see, and it's like when you see friends doing well, you're kind of like, yeah, I'm their
Absolutely.
friend.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We all come up together.
I'm going to ride some coattails.
I think we all do at some point.
yeah.
But yeah, so I'd say you can find us on Instagram, Open Mic Comedy Pod. We're on the W's, openmiccomedypod.com. Nobody visits it, so ignore it. Whichever platform you're listening to this on, and please hit the follow, subscribe button, whatever it is. A nice little review wouldn't go amiss. We have been as high as 11 in the Apple podcast charts at one point as well. Yeah.
Ooh, excellent.
But it's the Apple podcast charts for Great Britain in comedy stand-up. So it's a bit of a sub-chart, but hey, I'm taking it. I'm taking
Absolutely.
it.
The home of comedy over here, so come on.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I guess until next time, thank you very much for listening, and I'll speak to you all again very soon.
Woo.